He dismantled the Trump myth, live. Rising costs, no healthcare plan, and a fading base reveal the truth. This wasn't just a bad poll, it was a political collapse unfolding. Watch the expose.
Breaking a short time ago, Donald Trump and House Speaker Mike Johnson are hosting a last-minute tele-rally ahead of Tuesday's special election for a congressional seat in a deep red part of Tennessee. It should be a safe get for Republicans, but according to a new Emerson College poll, Republican Matt Van Epps and Democratic State Representative Afton Bane are in a very heated race. Van Epps leads Bane by just 2 points within the poll's margin of error. Trump won the same district by 22 points just last year. Joining us now, Tennessee State Representative Afton Bane. State Representative, thank you for being with us. A lot of people seem surprised the race is this close. Are you surprised?
No, I mean, the only reason this race is competitive is because Tennesseans are feeling the pain of what's happening in Washington. Republicans and their billionaire friends are spending millions in a seat that they should be able to win without thinking. And if we flip this seat in an R+22 district, it sends a message that the Republicans need to get really serious about making healthcare more affordable.
I'm sure you've heard a lot about healthcare. When you've been talking with voters, what are the other issues that are rising to the surface?
We have a crisis of affordability in the state of Tennessee. We have the highest cost of groceries in the country. We have people, voters in the district that are driving 2 hours to access healthcare. Things are not okay. Things are really dire. And I think voters in the 7th Congressional District are looking for a candidate. And throughout this campaign, I've always said, I don't care who you voted for. I don't care what political party you belong to. But if you are upset about the cost of living and the chaos of Washington, then I'm your candidate.
Part of the big news, of course, the president and the Speaker of the House hosting a tele-rally for your opponent. Do you think that's good news or bad news for you?
I think it means they're desperate and fraught with the onslaught of attack ads against me. The only reason that they are putting out all the stops is because they don't have a plan to tackle the healthcare issue and the affordability crisis. And so I'm not surprised that they are calling in reinforcements, but I see their teletown hall and I raise them 10,000 doors that we're probably going to knock this weekend.
I want to hear what it is you're hearing from voters on the other side of those doors, because that is, you are correct, the real work. What does it tell you, though, that it's a tele-rally, that they couldn't get their butts to Tennessee?
I don't know. Perhaps they want to keep some distance between this incredibly unpopular candidate that they're running, who is my opposition. But like I said, I mean, we have knocked tens of thousands of doors in this campaign. I just left a middle of the day, get out the vote canvas with 40 people. The energy here is palpable, and voters want change. And so my pitch has always been, if you want more of the status quo, if you want more of billionaires selling you out, then I'm not your candidate.
Right, which I think probably resonates in a different way, given that there are a lot of folks who did vote for Donald Trump on the promise that he was going to, quote unquote, drain the swamp, and have only watched him add more swamp creatures into the milieu. I wonder, a lot of us watched the races out of New Jersey and Virginia. What went through your mind as you watch Spanberger and Sherrill prove that these types of wins were possible in this environment?
I was optimistic. The Democratic candidates that ran on an affordability message were successful in early November, and I hope to continue that success in a deep red ruby district of Tennessee. I also want to flag for your folks that are watching, that Nashville was a consolidated Democratic district, and the state government, state supermajority overreached and cut Nashville into 3 Republican districts. And in fact, Representative Mark Green, who is the former representative of this district, a Republican, said, do not do this, it will backfire. And the backfiring is here.
Explain that to me, though, for folks who may not be as familiar with the district or the map, why exactly you think that it is backfiring on them.
Yeah, so Nashville is a Democratic stronghold in the state of Tennessee, and the Republican supermajority, Tennessee already endured what other states are going through right now in terms of their redistricting plans forced upon by the federal administration. So Nashville was cut into 3 Republican districts, and what they did is they pulled out some of the highest voter turnout precincts in Nashville, our historically black neighborhoods, and they included our purple bellwether county of Montgomery, which includes Clarksville and Fort Campbell. And so they got greedy and they overreached. And that is what we're seeing right now, is perhaps a rebuttal and a response to that overreach by making this race competitive.
Representative Bane, I know that you are in it to win it. I think sort of regardless of whether or not you actually do pull this over the finish line, there are already big lessons out of the campaign that you have run, both for Democrats and for Republicans. If you do, in fact, win, what do you think is the top line lesson for Democrats? And what do you think is the top line lesson for Republicans?
Yeah, this race has been about whether working families or billionaire special interests get listened to in Washington. And on December 2nd, I think Tennesseans are going to send a message to the country. And if I win, it will be due to Black voter turnout, which I think will send an absolute message to Washington and the federal administration that they have overreached their plan, their economic agenda has not delivered, and that people are wanting to see change.
What you just witnessed was a quiet political detonation dressed up in polite punditry. Beneath the calm delivery of poll numbers and policy critiques was a brutal takedown of a political movement in decay. Let's unpack it. Donald Trump's once loyal independent base is bleeding out fast. His approval rating among independents is the worst of any point during his presidency, and there's a reason for that. The economy is crumbling under the weight of poor leadership. Prices are soaring, housing is unaffordable, healthcare remains an unresolved disaster, and all the while, Trump plays golf in Florida, disconnected from the chaos he helped unleash. Voters aren't blind. They're living the consequences every day. Rent hikes, empty pharmacy shelves, medical bills piling up. And yet, what's Trump's response? Deporting undocumented workers mowing lawns and cleaning homes while violent criminals slip through the cracks? This isn't policy, it's performance. And now the mask is slipping. Even some of his own 2024 voters want to distance themselves from the MAGA label. That's not a rebrand, that's a retreat. If your base starts whispering they're not really with you anymore, that's not a minor detail. It's a red alarm. Because in midterms, enthusiasm is the currency of survival. And what we're seeing is a bankrupt campaign in slow motion. Republicans want to talk tough on healthcare, but here's the truth they never say out loud. They have no plan. After 15 years of railing against Obamacare, they still can't agree on a replacement. And now, as millions face the risk of losing subsidies, many of them Republican voters, the GOP is scrambling. Not because they've found compassion, no, it's because they're staring at political suicide if they don't act. That's the game. They didn't suddenly decide healthcare matters. They just don't want the blowback. And let's be crystal clear, 22 million people rely on these subsidies. Nearly 19 million of them live in red states. So when Republicans flirt with dismantling the ACA without a real backup, they're not just attacking policy, they're endangering lives in their own backyard. It's not leadership, it's cowardice wrapped in ideology. The institutions are protecting themselves again. GOP lawmakers shielding Trump's failures, consultants deflecting blame, media framing disaster as debate. But Americans are living the fallout. Parents rationing insulin, seniors skipping checkups, young families drowning in premiums. These aren't statistics, these are stories. And while politicians posture, the people suffer. Where is the accountability? When does someone finally say enough? The Constitution wasn't written to protect a party, it was written to protect the people. But right now, we're watching that promise erode, one broken healthcare vow at a time. Trump once won on a lie that he cared. That illusion is gone. Voters no longer believe he's fighting for them because he's not. He's fighting to preserve his image while the country buckles. Ask yourself, if he truly cared, wouldn't he have a healthcare plan by now? Wouldn't he stop the price hikes, the trade war bleeding small businesses, the immigration policies hurting working families? But he won't, because this was never about solutions. It was always about control. And now the cracks are showing. Even Republican strategists admit it. On air, live, under the weight of the truth. The mega machine is losing oil, fast. What's left is a fragile coalition trying to act tough while begging voters to forget the damage. But we won't forget. We see the families losing coverage. We see the quiet suffering in red states. We see the cynical games in Congress. And we hear the silence from those who should be defending us. There's a reason Republicans are panicking. It's not just the poll numbers. It's the realization that their base isn't buying the con anymore. That's the real story here. Behind the headlines and pundit talk is a movement that's collapsing under the weight of its own lies. And when 22 million Americans could lose healthcare because a few men in suits weren't consulted, that's not miscommunication, that's cruelty. So what happens now? Do we let this cycle repeat again? Or do we call it out for what it is? A betrayal of public trust at the highest level. If you're angry, good. You should be. If you're scared, you're not alone. But fear doesn't change systems. Action does. Demand better. Demand real solutions, not political theater. No one is above the Constitution. Not Trump, not Congress, not the party strategists playing both sides. We need leaders, not liars, fighters, not figureheads, and we need them now. So share this video, post it, send it, talk about it, because silence is complicity. And if we don't speak up, nothing changes. Subscribe if you believe in truth over spin. Stay loud, stay clear-eyed, stay ready. Because the midterms won't just be about who votes, it'll be about who refuses to be fooled again. This is our country. This is our moment. Let's not waste it.